Hi, I'm Colin Nias, pastor of Mannum Community Church and co-convener of the collective impact group Mid-Murray Family Connections. Mannum is a small rural town in the South Australian Mid-Murray, about 85 kilometres east of Adelaide on Nangaraku land. I grew up in Mannum but left as soon as I finished school, only to return 41 years later in 2012. 2012 was also the year of the Australian Early Development Census. In terms of child development, the Mid-Murray region had double the vulnerability of the rest of South Australia, and Mannum's data was almost twice as bad again. My hometown was no longer a good place for children to grow up. The Mid-Murray Council responded by putting out a call to action to all parties who were concerned about this situation. A number of government and non-government employees and some concerned citizens responded to this call. This was the formation of Mid-Murray Family Connections. It took a while to mobilise to action, but in 2016 we released our first accountability plan to address emotional vulnerability. We established work groups to deliver no-cost or low-cost programs to help local children. That's right, we are working with no budget at all. Groups have since delivered family fun days including service providers who inform locals about supports available, established a Mid-Murray Mums Facebook page and reading programs. Quit for You, Quit for Two programs have been run, and 2 white-tie dinners have raised almost $14,000 to address domestic and family violence. When you have no budget, you have to raise funds, but we don't only lack money, we also lack facilities. In Mannum there is no place for service providers to come to or for families to connect. Government provides these facilities in larger population areas, but rural kids miss out. I took this dilemma back to my church and suggested that perhaps we could do some good for our community if we were to build a children's wellbeing centre. I think they thought I was suffering some sort of medical episode, as it was crazy to suggest that our little group could actually do this. Mannum Community Church is a micro-church. At this point we had just 14 members. 4 of them were over 90. Yes, I said over 90. Only one was under 60, and we didn't have a single taxpayer among us. So the church had little money or income, but being dreamers, they voted to investigate this possibility. I took the idea back to Mid-Murray Family Connections that the church could sell their buildings to provide seed funding towards building a children's centre. That started a process towards a feasibility study that would cost money. Money we didn't have. This is where benevolent organisations can make a huge difference. We will forever be grateful to the Düsseldorf Forum for providing $10,000 towards the study. It wasn't enough to do the study, but in our journey of 1,000 miles, they enabled us to take our first steps. We had made it to the starting line. Mid-Murray Family Connections suggested that if the church added $5,000 and our strategic leadership group each kicked in $1,000, we could raise enough to seek a matching grant for the balance. Well, the church did agree to put in $5,000, and at this point I knew they had bought into the dream. Then things snowballed. Baptist Care SA matched the church contribution and also offered to provide a project leader for the study. Regional Development Australia kicked in $1,000, as did Murray-Mallee General Practice, AC Care, Mannum Community College, Mid-Murray Council and 2 private citizens. The local Lions Club and Progress Association each chipped in $500. We approached the State Minister for Education, hoping that he would also contribute $5,000 and agree to meet again when the study was complete. We were never able to make these requests as they were offered by the Minister spontaneously. A final total pool of $33,000 was enough for a feasibility study without the need for a grant. Well, that is history now. The feasibility study was recently completed. It confirmed there is a need for a children's wellbeing centre, and naturally you can't support children without addressing the needs of the whole family. We also learned that the local Aboriginal people feel they have no gathering place. That can be incorporated too. We have now begun the process of using the study to look at building and funding options. The crazy idea became a vision, and we are now working to move that vision towards a reality. but we still have some heavy lifting to do. It's a long way to go before our dream becomes a reality. We have identified a preferred building site, but it has the wrong zoning to allow a community centre to be built there. But remember, it was the local council who initiated Mid-Murray Family Connections. They are on side, so we should be able to work this one out. We then face the difficulty of developing a plan when we don't know what funding may be available, and it's difficult to canvass funding without a detailed plan. So we are planning for the ideal centre that Mannum needs, but we'll also have a B plan to fall back on. We still can't do this alone. The sale of Mannum Community Church's properties provides just over 20% of what is needed. But as the Beatles sang, we'll get by with a little help from our friends, and for me, some divine intervention as well. We're hoping we have some friends here today. We started with an emotional vulnerability indicator of 80%. While it is now reduced to 42.3%, we have a vision for the future that it could be and should be zero. We want Mannum and the Mid-Murray to be amongst the best places to raise a child. Let's picture it 5 years from now. I see the Mannum Children's Centre up and running, and we at last have the services available that we now lack. I see happy, healthy children and a place for our Aboriginal community to call their own. It started with a dream, and we will continue to live that dream, because it's only when you have a dream that your dream can come true. Thank you, and God bless.